family is lost forever.
You should have granted Raiden's request.
It's a regret we share.
Hanzo Hasashi was a member of the Shirai Ryu clan. Killed unjustly and suffering the loss of his wife and child, Hanzo was resurrected and reborn as a hellish Spectre under the name of Scorpion, in hopes that he could one day avenge his fallen. Having lived the cycle of life and death several times, how would he identify in the Star Wars universe? Would he identify as a Jedi, a Sith, or perhaps something else? This episode is one I've been looking forward to for a while. To make things interesting, I am actually going to be focusing on two versions of the character in question. We'll be looking at Scorpion during his time as a vengeful Spectre, and also his older human self from Mortal Kombat 11. I will briefly touch on his form from MKX towards the end. Now then, let's see what Force alignment Scorpion's criteria would place him in. As a Spectre, Scorpion's sole purpose was to avenge his loved ones and serve the man behind his resurrection. As an older man, Hanzo rebuilt his fallen clan with the express intention of defending Earthrealm from otherworldly threats. Hanzo Hasashi is well known as one of the most skilled fighters within Mortal Kombat. A master of stealth, martial arts, and swordsmanship, he fluidly combines these skills with his powers over Hellfire. This ability was granted to him upon his rebirth. In order to fully access his infernal power, he must relive the pain and suffering of his past. This is both powerful and dangerous, as drawing on such dark emotions for too long could potentially leave him blind to the consequences of his actions, yet he was no less dangerous for it. As a Spectre, Scorpion drew on his power discriminately, while his older self would use his abilities with a much more stable mind, and held a lot more control over his actions. Despite his incredible rage, Scorpion is not entirely evil. Within Mortal Kombat Armageddon, he was the only character who was listed to have a neutral alignment, willing to work with anyone if it would suit his purpose. Now then, let's discuss the Jedi and Sith, and see who these iterations of the character would most likely identify with. The Jedi Knights are the guardians of peace and justice throughout the galaxy. They maintain a humble lifestyle under the tenets of the Jedi Code, and seek to preserve life wherever possible, as it is considered precious. They commit themselves to the study and understanding of the light side of the Force. Pacifism, tranquility, and reasoning are some of their most profound qualities. There are many ways in which one could be considered a great Jedi. However, there is typically three different categories that one may fall under. The first is a Jedi who remains a member of the Order, but is considered to be unorthodox, or something of a maverick within their ranks. They do not affiliate with the dark side, but are often known to butt heads with council members, and often act according to their own beliefs and instincts, rather than strictly following the tenets of the Jedi Code. The second are those that believe the dark side of the Force can have its uses, and as a result pull a section of their power from it. These types of Jedi are considered to be wildly unconventional, and must be extra vigilant when tapping into the power of the dark side, lest they succumb to its influence. The final form of a great Jedi is one that does not belong to the Jedi Order, but instead belongs to a separate faction, or none at all, such as the Sages of Barandel or Rowan Fell's Imperial Knights. These Force users do not commit themselves to the dark side. As far as Scorpion goes, a traditional Jedi seems very unlikely, as their goals and beliefs almost completely contradict the Spectre's intentions. Rage and vengeance are frowned on by the Jedi Order. Hanzo Hasashi, on the other hand, is not driven by such dark ambitions anymore, able to show restraint, even against his sworn enemies, and by reforming the Shirai Ryu to protect Earthrealm, he essentially formed his own Jedi clan. So far, I can see Scorpion closely identifying as a lone grey Jedi of the second variety, drawing heavily on the dark side, perhaps too heavily. Hanzo, on the other hand, could potentially identify with the third variety of a Grey Jedi, a non-dark side faction with noble intentions. But let's not forget the possibilities of the dark side just yet. A Dark Jedi is a Force user that pulls the majority of their power from the dark side of the Force. These Force users tend to follow their own personal codes and philosophies of life. Some are known to be former Jedi that fell from grace and left the Order, often following this path after various life experiences, while others may be raised as such from a young age, and simply don't know any better. The Sith are known as the ancient enemy of the Jedi. They follow their own code under the tenets of the ancient Sith Order. In order to become a Sith, a student of the dark side must dedicate themselves to the teachings of a Sith Lord, or the teachings of a Sith holocron, lest they be considered a Dark Jedi. They are often driven by such ambitions and feelings such as hatred, lust, greed, passion, and anger. They seek to assert their will over others, and tend to perceive all life outside their ranks as beneath them. The lifestyle of a Sith Lord is both harsh and unforgiving. The ambitions that drive those under the dark side's influence flow almost exclusively with Scorpion, rage being the most prominent. Hanzo Hasashi, on the other hand, is able to make use of his darker abilities without losing control and succumbing to these emotions, and so the dark side will be something that I expect he would use with restraint. As for the Sith, neither version of the character really has any particular interests that align with the Dark Lords, even if they were resurrected by a man who could closely identify as one. After much deliberation, I believe that Hanzo Hasashi and Scorpion would identify as a Grey Jedi and Dark Jedi respectively, with Hanzo relating to the third variety of Grey Jedi, being the Grand Master of a clan with noble intentions. Scorpion and Hanzo are essentially two sides of the same coin, and as such, just like how I believe their Force alignments would be direct opposites of one another, so too do I believe the character examples of who they would compare to. For Hanzo, this would be Mace Windu, while Scorpion would follow Sora Bulk. Windu and Bulk created the fighting style Vaapad, a style based around accepting the inner darkness of the opponent and returning it right back at them, whilst also drawing on one's own inner darkness and passion to propel themselves in battle. Mace perfected and mastered the style, and could employ its benefits without succumbing to his inner darkness, just like how Hanzo could draw on his hellfire without falling prey to his emotions, while Scorpion and Sora almost completely fell victim to their rage. As for the mentioned human Hanzo from MKX, I believe that he falls in the middle, and represents the dark struggles of Quinlan Vos, a Jedi who skirted the lines of Vaapad and the dark side several times, initially lying closer to Sora after his restoration, and later drawing closer to Windu once he managed to let go of his inner darkness. Okay, there you have it peeps. I hope you enjoyed this episode, as this was a bunch of fun to make, and the one that I've been most excited to make in a long time. What type of Force user do you think Hanzo and Scorpion would be? Links to social media are in the description below. Well, until next time, may the Force be with you all.